Coming up on this episode of Freedom from Fire, do you know how to help someone if their heart stops? We'll show you CPR basics so you can hopefully save the life. Also, you'll watch this show before. You know how I've stressed the importance of having working smoke alarms in your home. Later, I'll talk with a recent fire victim who is proof that smoke alarms are crucial to saving your life. We'll hear her story plus a lot more, so stay tuned to Freedom from Fire. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Freedom from Fire. I'm your host, Fire Commissioner Derrick Sawyer. Here at Freedom from Fire, we aim to improve your quality of life by giving you fire and life safety information. We also introduce you to local safety partners. To start today's show, I want to look at a procedure you can learn that could one day save someone's life. According to the American Heart Association, CPR saves about 92,000 people every year. Anyone can learn CPR, and everyone should. About 70% of Americans do not know how to administer CPR, or their training has significantly lapsed. This alarming statistic could hit close to home because home is exactly where 88% of cardiac arrests occur. The average person can double or even triple a cardiac arrest victim's chance of survival by providing CPR immediately. However, only 32% of cardiac arrest victims get CPR from a bystander. Sadly, less than 8% of people who suffer cardiac arrest outside the hospital survive. Here with us today to explain more about CPR, how it works, is Fire Service Paramedic Sadie Smith. Sadie, how are you?
Excellent, Commissioner. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Welcome to Freedom from Fire.
Good to be here.
Good. So what is CPR?
CPR actually stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It actually works by maintaining circulation when the heart actually stops working on its own.
So when would someone do CPR?
When someone is not breathing and he does not have a pulse.
Got you. So once somebody finds somebody that's not breathing, they don't have a pulse, what are the next steps?
At that point you will call 911. There's 2 steps for CPR. You will call 911 and actually you will push hard and fast. The lungs and the heart works by forcing air into the lungs to restore circulation. What you would do is you will come up to, you will have a mannequin, you will place the mannequin right before you, and it works easily. You will place the palm of your hand in the center of the chest. At that point, you will place your other hand over top of this hand, and you will push hard and fast.
So demonstrate.
I sure will.
So
it's easy.
Very easy. So again, what's the cycle? So if someone was pushing hard and fast, they should do that for how long? Till someone gets there, or so?
Yes, anyone could do CPR. So you will push hard and you will push fast until medical emergencies get there to help. And
Great.
You will stay on the chest until you get help.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, and thanks for sharing this very important life-saving information.
Thanks for having me.
All right. We're about to go on break, but before we go, we're going to hear from a little more about the next guest who recently had a home fire while her family was asleep. Here's Monique Dogan to tell you about how smoke alarms can save lives.
We just came back from Disney World, like hours before. And I was in a deep sleep, and my oldest daughter, she's 7, she woke me up. Like, Mom, there's a fire, and I'm on the phone with 911. I'm like, what? She said that like half of the room going towards the back of the house, the dining room and kitchen, everything, was like smoke, and the fire was right there in front of her. So she said she walked around the table to come up the stairs. And she's like, that's when she woke me up. She was calling 911 and everything. The smoke and everything is like coming towards us. So I run back in my bedroom with my children, and as soon as I like closed the door back, it like got bust back open with the smoke. As soon as I like looked out the window, I looked down because I knew we was gonna have to jump, and I just jumped, like instantly jumped down, jumped right back up when I hit the ground. I was like, okay, Armani, let go. She let go, and I like caught her, and she fell on the weirdest, like a V shape, like her head was here and her legs was sticking up. Like, Mommy, I'm scared. I caught your sister. I will not let you fall. And she flew down, and like when she jumped down, I guess like from the weight of her coming down, we both fell back. I had her on top of me, and I'm just like crying. I never lived in any other house. I was raised there. Every memory I have there, and every memory, good, bad, everything was there. Like, that will always be home. A lot of times people will be like, hey, did you change your ID yet? And I'm like, no, my address is never changing. That's always going to be my house. I came back with my dad to help take care of him. So when I came back, he told me about the smoke detectors. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Who installed them? Because I know he can't do it himself. And he said, the fire department. So I'm like, they came here, like themselves? He's like, yes, the fire department. They came and they installed. He's like, they did everybody. I was like, oh, okay. And that was like way before the fire even happened. And thank God they did that. Nobody ever think they will have a fire. I never, ever thought I would have a fire, ever. Now I'm so more serious about every little thing that, can be harmful or can become a fire hazard. I always tell people, like, don't underestimate kids. Because they're kids doesn't mean, they won't know what to do. Because I can't thank my daughter enough. And she's like, everybody calls me brave. Why are they saying that? And I'm like, because you are. A lot of kids don't do what you did. I'm like, you're a hero.
I think that a healthy body image means that, you are comfortable being the best you that you can be.
I think it's also part of the mental mind and how a person feels that they're perceived, because if they're confident, it's going to show in the way they act, how they dress.
If you're happy with how you look, you're comfortable, that means you're happy and you're healthy.
My ideal body image would be one where someone's healthy and happy.
If you or someone you know is struggling to maintain a healthy body image, visit the National Eating Disorder Association's website at www.nedawareness.org.
He's following me. He knows where my next class is.
%31% of female victims stalked by an intimate partner were sexually assaulted by that partner. For more help, visit www.victimsofcrime.org.
Freedom from Fire. I'm your host, Fire Commissioner Derrick Sawyer. Most structural fires, deaths, and fire injuries occur in the home. In fact, 3 out of 5 home deaths result from fires with no smoke alarms installed or no working smoke alarms at all. Before the break, you heard how a smoke alarm saved our next guest's life along with the lives of her family. This is just one example of how properly installed and maintained smoke alarms can play a vital role in reducing fire deaths and injury. Joining us now to tell us more about her experience is Miss Monique Dogan. Monique, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Commissioner?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining us on Freedom from Fire.
Thank you.
So, give us a little summary about what happened that evening.
On December 8th, my daughter was the first one to wake up from the fire, and she woke up, she came upstairs and was like, "Mom, the house is on fire." So,
what were your first thoughts?
oh my God. My first thought was like, this can't be happening. And, you know, to go into action to get us out the house. And my daughter, she already had my phone to call 911, and she closed the door, and that's when I went back out the door to go get my dad out his room. So after I got him to go out the house, now I have to try to get us out, and the fire was moving so fast. So in the middle of moving and trying to get everybody out, we're on the phone with 911. And then that's when the smoke and everything started coming towards us. So we had no way to escape besides out the window.
So you said your daughter dialed 911. How did she know there was a fire?
She woke up from the smoke alarms.
So tell us a little bit about the smoke alarm.
The smoke alarms were loud. They were very loud. They were going off. Every last one of them in the house was going off. And she came upstairs. She heard it first. And she came upstairs. I didn't hear it probably so as fast as her because I was asleep in a deep sleep because we came from Disney World and I was tired. So when she came, it was so, like we were screaming because it was so loud from the smoke alarm. So we had to scream to hear each other.
So smoke alarms actually work?
Yes, they were working, every one of them.
So you talked about smoke alarms waking you up. How did you actually get those smoke alarms? You put them in yourself?
No, the Philadelphia Fire Department came.
Really?
Yes. And they gave us everyone, they installed everyone.
Great. How many smoke alarms did they give you?
I think it was 3 or 4.
Okay.
I know it was one in the kitchen, upstairs in the hallway, downstairs, and the living room where the stairs are.
So your daughter wakes you up.
Yes.
You're sound asleep. She did the right thing, called 911 right away.
Yes. Like when she woke me up, the phone was like in my face.
Ready to go, right? So I was listening to that 911 call, and you did a pretty good job of talking to the dispatcher. So what were some of the things going through your mind as you were thinking about the fact that you had to get your family out of the house?
Move fast. That was like my main thing because the heat and the smoke and having multiple people in the house, it wasn't time to try to discuss things or anything.
Right.
It was like we knew the plan and it was like time to go to action. It wasn't time to cry about it or anything. It was time to get out because the fire was way too big to try to, you know, do anything with the fire.
So you just made an important statement. We already know that smoke alarms work because they
Yes.
woke your family up. And there's another component that's very important in addition to having smoke alarms, the home escape plan.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your plan and how did it work out?
The plan actually didn't work out because the fire moved so fast that, you know, we had to go to plan B out the window.
Right.
So because our original plan, you know, my daughter would be like fire, or we'll push the smoke alarm. And if they're in their bedrooms, you know, we have 2 stairways of steps in the kitchen and the living room. So whatever bedroom they was in, they went down that way, the closest to get out. And they're always together in the house. So I always tell them to stay together. And we had a meeting spot in the back of the house, in the middle of the parking lot, and the front of the house was across the street. And they knew how, you know, to look before they crossed the street and everything. But since the fire moved so fast, I told them that there's a possibility if it's a fire, we may have to jump out of the window.
Right.
So I actually lift the window up before I let them look out and held them so they can see, you know, so it won't be, if ever, it wouldn't be their first time looking down that far.
Right.
And
that's great.
yes, so, and the fact that we literally had to jump out the window. They weren't so hysterical because, you know, they actually seen that distance before, and I was down there to catch them, made it even better.
So let's go through that a little bit. You had to go out the window first, and then they followed behind you, right?
Yes.
And so just tell us that part of it. What was that like for you and your children?
That was very difficult because the hardest part for me, as far as trying to think fast, was do I just jump out and then tell them to come out, or do I try to get them out some way? And luckily my neighbors had an air conditioner in their window at the time, so I used it as a chair to get them out of the house. So when I jumped down, you know, the fire's still moving as we're moving.
That's right.
So I didn't want to leave them inside the house for an extra second so I can jump. So after I got them on the air conditioner, I jumped down instantly, and instantly they came down one by one.
Nice. So was this the first time you experienced a home fire?
Yes.
And never thought it would happen?
Never, ever, ever.
So,
no, but I don't think anyone will ever really think a fire will happen to them.
Right, right. Well, that's why your story is so important. Think about it. Most people think it won't happen to them. You can say definitively that you didn't think it would happen to you, but it did.
Yes.
And now you can explain to people why it is important to have a home escape plan, so that if they do have a fire, they're prepared. Because think about the fact, if you didn't have a plan and you had to think about this all while the fire is going on.
Right.
So talk about that a little bit, with the speed of the fire versus you getting out of the house.
I thank God that we had a plan, because if we didn't have a plan, we really wouldn't have made it out, because the fire was like on us. The smoke is wherever, you can't beat the smoke or the fire, and it's hard to breathe. If you can't breathe, you can't think, you can't move. So like if you don't have a plan, that's like fatal, basically.
Right. And nobody wants to die in the fire,
Right.
right? So I know that just recently you had the opportunity to share your story with about 200, 250 fire and life safety educators.
Yes.
And after you shared your story with them, you had a lot of comments, right?
Yes.
So what were some of the things that you heard from those people that you shared your story with?
A lot of people were saying they were happy to meet me, happy to hear my story, and they were proud of me and my family. But a lot of things that I learned and seen there is that the fire departments all over really care.
Yes.
Like, you guys care so much about people and, you know, everyone in their households. And people need to think like they need to care about themselves that much to want to, you know, take care of their house, for us protecting themselves, being prepared for a fire.
So you said your father was in the house?
Yes.
And your children?
Yes.
How are they making out now?
Everybody is doing really well.
Good.
Nobody had any real bad injuries or anything, so, but everybody's been doing really good. We talk about the fire here and there when my children want to talk about it. We're actually doing good. Like, we're just doing really good.
So when you think about this fire, have you shared this with your other relatives, your friends?
I share it
because
a lot.
you know it's important
Yes.
that you share your message so that someone else can have the same success that you have.
Yes. I share it a lot because, you know, it's real. And when I say it to my peers, family, people at work, people I meet at my daughter's school, people I meet at the park, because, you know, a lot of people, you know, they'll hear about it, but they'll never actually meet the person.
That's true.
So that's why any chance I get, definitely with people I never met before, you know, if it comes up, I'll just be like, yeah, you know, it's important to have a lot of smoke alarms. Or when we visit people's house, we go in people's house and
down,
literally
right.
look around while we're there, like, hey, you don't have any smoke alarms? So yeah, we do it a lot.
So fortunately your house is going to be rebuilt,
Yes,
right? Because
yes.
this is the only house that you know, right?
Yes.
And we talked about residential sprinklers. So what's your thought about residential sprinklers?
I definitely, my house get remodeled, I definitely going to get that because it works and it could have helped.
Even more, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
If it was going off, the house probably wouldn't have burned as bad as it did.
Right. So how do you know how the fire started?
Space heater.
Space heaters.
Yes.
So what have you learned about space heaters?
Space heaters
Need
space.
That's
Yes.
right. Right.
Yes.
So if you could share one important message to everyone that's watching and listening so that they don't have to experience this, what would that message be?
Straightforward. Smoke
Straightforward.
alarms.
Smoke
Save
alarms.
lives. Save lives.
Home escape plan.
Home escape plan.
Space heaters.
Space heaters need space, and to practice the escape plans, and to check your smoke alarms to make sure they're working.
But that's important too.
Yes, and be prepared.
So how often did you practice your home escape plan?
We didn't practice it as much as now we will, but we practiced it a few times. Like we weren't doing it monthly.
Right.
But we did it.
practice.
When we first was doing it, we did it weekly, and then it was like, okay, we got it. So, but now we're like.
So how often would you practice it now?
I think at least once a month.
Once a month?
Yes, at
and
least.
That's important. Why is that important? You know why it's important, but why is that important?
It's important because it's repetition. You know, when your family knows it and you practice it over and over again, it's second nature. You just will instantly know what to do.
Right.
You don't have to think because it's in you already to do it.
Yep, it becomes second nature.
Yes.
And as you know, it's been a long time since there's been a fire in a school because schools have fire drills.
Yes.
So we try to impress upon families to do the same thing at home.
Yes.
Because if you have that fire drill and it becomes second nature, you will get out on time.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing your story with everyone. I think it's very important because lots of times people just don't believe it's going to happen to them. So by you sharing your story, I think you help someone to save their life also.
Thank you.
So thankfully, Monique and her family were able to escape this fire before it became even more tragic and lives were lost. I hope that you learned from her experience and are moved to make the initiative to ensure that your family is safe. To keep your family safe, install smoke alarms on every level of your home as well as the basement. Large homes may need extra smoke alarms. A smoke alarm should be on the ceiling or high on the wall. Keep smoke alarms away from the kitchen to reduce false alarms. It is best to use interconnected smoke alarms. When one alarm sounds, they all sound. Test all smoke alarms at least once a month. Press the test button to be sure the alarm is working. Remember to replace 10-year alarms when the time has elapsed. Write the date on the alarm so you can easily see it when to replace it. People who are deaf and have hearing problems can use special alarms. These alarms have strobe lights and bed shakers. Your ability to get out of your house during a fire depends on advanced warning from your smoke alarms and advanced planning. Plan your escape. Get everyone in your household together and make sure they have a home escape plan and understand it. Walk through your home, look for 2 ways out of every room. Make sure escape routes are clear of debris. Windows with security bars or grills should have an emergency release device. Plan an outside meeting place where everyone will meet once they have escaped. A good meeting place is something permanent, like a mailbox, a safe distance from the home. If there are infants, older adults, folks with mobility limitations, or children who do not wake to the sound of a smoke alarm, make sure someone is assigned to assist them in the event of an emergency. Remember, once you are out, stay out. The National Fire Protection Association emphasizes the need to plan and practice home escape plans and to make sure everyone in the home can be awakened by the sound of the smoke alarm. Practice the home escape plan by activating the alarm so all family members become familiar with its sound. Monique, thank you again for joining us today. As I do on every show, I'm going to ask you to do a little favor. Is that all right?
Yes.
All right. So what I'm going to ask you to do is take the fire safety pledge with me.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
All right. So you raise that right hand. Ready?
Yes.
I love my family and I'm responsible for their safety. Therefore, I pledge the following. I pledge to have at least one working smoke alarm on each level of my home. I pledge to test my alarms as recommended and replace my alarms with new lithium battery-powered alarms when needed. I pledge that every family member will sleep with their bedroom door closed. I pledge to develop and practice a home escape plan. I pledge that if I cannot afford smoke alarms, I will call the city's non-emergency number 311 or visit www.fspa.gov www.phila.gov/311. All of this I do, solemnly pledge, urge all of you at home to take the fire safety pledge along with your family. If you haven't done so, go to freedomfromfire.com and review our fire safety checklist and prepare a home escape plan. So, have you seen our fire safety website?
I will.
You will?
Yes.
Where is it at? www.freedomfromfire.com.
Okay. Okay.
And we also have a fire safety app. Do you have a iPhone or an Android?
iPhone.
iPhone, great. You're the best. So, do you have our fire safety app?
I will get it today.
Good. Before you leave, I want you to download the fire safety app right from the Freedom from Fire website, www.freedomfromfire.com. And you can download this fire safety app onto your phone, and it has a copy of a home escape plan, and it has a copy where to put your smoke alarms, and it tells you how to test your smoke alarms. It tells you about space heaters. It tells you about cooking. All the fire safety questions you may have is on this one app, and it's free. So, remember, if you would like to find out more about LaSalle TV, you can check out our social media sites. And if you're interested in learning about the Philadelphia Fire Department, visit our Facebook, Twitter, and web pages. I would like to once again thank Fire Service Paramedic Sadie Smith and Miss Monique Dogan for joining us today. I also would like to thank you for tuning in and watching. So until next time, remember, fire is everyone's fight, and stay safe and remain free from fire.